Hello everyone, Uriel here, and this week's video is creating a character using the Jazzers Arty Games app. This video is a bit different from what was planned because there was an issue with a technical issue with the footage for the Copic Colours video I'd planned on doing. So I decided that I was just going to use the app, the Jazzers Arty Game app. I've had it for ages, and I've used it quite a lot, especially the character design. It just gives you some really random elements to make your character. And so I went onto I went onto the game, took a couple of screenshots. I think I took about 9, and I asked my Instagram followers which I should use. So the winner was actually a dragon. It was a tiny dragon who liked to draw, who was wearing steampunk goggles. But my camera stopped videoing midway through. Well, not even midway through. I hadn't even, or I'd sort of just started colouring it when the footage cut out. So I went with the second choice, which was a fairy that is obsessed with chocolate, who has a weapon twice their size. So this was like the one that came second in the poll on Instagram. So it's more up my market, up my street really, figure drawing. So I was a little happier with this one as well. The dragon is on my Instagram if you want to go and check it out, at uriel.illustrations. So the paper that I'm using is the Canson XL marker paper. I'm not a lover of marker paper, but I've got a great big pad of it and it needs using, and I'm using markers, so why not? The pencils that I'm using, these are my actual go-to pencils. They're the Pilot Colorino. I've got the red and I've got the blue. I tend to use the red for the initial sketch, just to block in shapes and stuff like that. The blue is just to refine the shapes and the sketch a little more. You can just see me doing the bar of chocolate right now, and I did struggle with trying to space the pieces of chocolate in the bar. So I went with like it's just an ordinary fairy. I did play with the idea of making her like a candy fairy or whatever, but I just was like, you know what, a candy fairy wouldn't eat loads of candy because it's too close to home or whatever. So I decided that I was going to just do her as like an autumn fairy. So you'll see like loads of browns, beiges, oranges in her colour scheme. And the pen that I'm using here to line is a Copic multiliner. It's 0.3 and it's in the colour wine. It came in the scroller box in October, I think. It came with like a Copic sketch, a Copic sketching set, which was like 2 Copic Chow markers, a Copic multiliner, and there was like a glitter pen in there as well. This pen is the only one that I'm actually keeping out the set, only because the 2 Chow colours that I had were I already owned in sketch, so it was pointless keeping the chow markers, so they've gone as part of my giveaway. I was trying to play with a bit more of a perspective as well on this, what is now on the right leg, which is her left leg. Trying to sort of bring it a bit close to the viewer. I did realise after I'd inked the chocolate bar that it seemed to sit really funny. It was like falling and she was sitting on it, rather than the perspective was a little out, but it's fine. Yeah, so rather than going with a skin tone, I decided to go with the green blue, like a minty turquoisey colour. I just sometimes you just get sick of doing the same sort of skin tones all the time, you know, the beigey, browny colours. So doing a creature like a fairy or like mermaid or, you know, anything like that, aliens, you sort of, it gives you the opportunity to use a different skin tone than you would normally use. So yeah, I just thought, you know what, just go with a bit of green, turquoisey tone, and it looked fine while the ink was wet, but then a bit later on in the video you'll see me going over it with a darker tone as well, because it just looks so pale. Bubblegum hair, it was just purely because it was going to contrast from the skin tone. It was and I just really like trying to do different coloured hair. I tend to sort of stick with like ordinary, you know, natural colours, shall we say. But yeah, although having said that, I'm thinking now, if you look back on my Instagram, there's quite a lot of characters with pink hair. So who knows? That marker there is I think it's the YR24, which is actually one of the Copic colours for December. It was going to be one of the colours that I was going to use. I did this whole illustration and the whole video hadn't recorded, and I thought, you know what, I'm not even going to try and redraw this. Forget it, you know, obviously it wasn't meant to be. So I went and tried something completely different. I asked my Instagram followers, and a lot of them were like wanting a desk tour and stuff like that, but my desk is so boring. I've got 2 lamps, my camera arm, my Copic case with my Copics in, and a set of drawers which are very dull. I couldn't honestly justify doing a desk tour because it would be a 3-minute video. So I've completely sort of scrapped that idea. But I mean, it might be something that I could do later, when I sort of expand a little. The thing is, because I'm a student, and next year, or the next academic year, so from September 2020, I'll be moving to the US to study for a year. So I've ended up streamlining everything. If it's not in that set of drawers or in that Copic case, I don't use it. And also I've tried not to buy random art supplies as well. there's places where I'll go and I'll just be wandering backwards and forwards, looking at the different pens, the different markers, pencils, and I just sort of, I am a little obsessed, but I can't justify buying any more at the moment. Anything that I get now, I have to think, right, can I take that with me? And if I'm not going to take it with me, what's the point in buying it? So, because I won't be able to use it for a year. So, yeah, although I do plan on taking like my lamps and my camera arm and stuff like that in a case. I want to be able to still do videos and artwork while I'm in the US. Last weekend I actually got my nomination for which university I'll be going to. So I'll be going to the University of Western Washington, which is just north of Seattle and just south of Vancouver, BC. It was my first choice, and I'm really excited about it. Here, the chocolate was like, it was the bane of my life for this picture. The spacing for the blocks, the colour choices, it was just an absolute nightmare. But it was like one of the biggest things that the fairy needed in the picture. Although having said that, there was the weapon that's supposed to be twice the size of them, and I just sort of like, I had this idea of giving them like this huge wand, which didn't really say weapon to me. And then in one of the concept drawings, I've given her an actual sized arrow, which is like a spear. But because it's got to be twice the size, it sort of doesn't really fit the picture. So I've just given her like a really long spear, which isn't actually twice the size, but you know, it's a long spear. There I am, going in with the darker blue-green pen, just to try and give a bit of shading to the skin. And you'll notice that like I'm obsessed with putting like circles behind my characters, just to give them a bit of, it's not exactly a background, it's just, it gives them something to pop off of. And yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people doing it. I know Casey Goldin, she does it with virtually every piece, and so do I. I think it was Jazza actually who said about putting like a shape behind your characters, and that helps make them pop off the page. I made a mistake with this purple colour. It read too grey to me, grey purple. So, and it became really streaky. I think it's one that I need to get a refill for, because it's getting a little dry now. So I went over it again, but with a more, it is in the same colour family, but it's actually the lighter version. I think that was like V29 or something, and I picked up the V25 just to try and get rid of the streaks and to sort of give it a more saturated tone. It was really desaturated and grey looking before. So yeah, it just sort of like putting the other layer on top of it just sort of takes away some of the streakiness, because it's such a massive area that foolishly I decided that it was going to be this huge area. Well, I didn't even decide it. I sort of like had my compass open at a certain size, and I just sort of went with it. But yeah, it helps to sort of reduce the streakiness somewhat. You'll notice that I've left the wings until like last. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do with those wings. I couldn't decide whether I was going to go with the fact that, you know, it's part of her body, so would it be like a skin tone, or would I just leave them white? Or I did sort of toy with the idea of making them more insect-like by putting like black veins and stuff through, but I thought that if I was putting black in them, it would just be too harsh. So I sort of like went with an idea of trying to make them sort of half look transparent and half just remain white, just by giving them a quick go over with a paler purpley colour, and then sort of, yeah, just sort of making it somewhat transparent and then something not really. I went in here's with my Derwent Colour Soft white pencil. So I usually use white pencils just to pick out softer sort of highlights. So if it's like a softer surface like clothes or hair, I'll tend to use the pencil. And then this is it's a paint pen, white paint pen. I threw the Derwent paint pen away completely. It ruined more than one of my pictures, so I was just like, yeah, you know what, that needs to go. And then I realised that I had this one. They're so much like Posca pens, and they're just, I always do a white outline around my characters, and so it just helps them pop off the screen, especially when there's a coloured background. So like on the chocolate, and her trousers were just beige, and so were her boots. They sort of like blended into the background of the chocolate. And yeah, I quite like putting like a white outline around them, just to help them pop even more off the page. But yeah, I really like this pen, and I don't know why I haven't used it more. It's not the finest of nibs, but it is a finer nib. The Derwent one had an actual fine liner nib. This one's just a Posca pen, you know, basic bullet nib thing. But it's got like a really fine tip on the end of it, so I decided to use that. Yeah, so I'm actually quite pleased with it. Just putting my signature in. So yeah, she's all done. So please like, comment and subscribe, and check out my Instagram at uriel.illustrations. The dragon is on there, and there are other art pieces that I haven't got videos for. But you know, please go and like, follow and subscribe, and comment on my Instagram as well.